Hello, ActiveSage here on this Sage channel, and we're back again for some more singular survival. Now, in the last episode, of course, as you probably just saw a day or two back, we've moved the solar panels up there. At least, yeah, we moved all the solar panels that were down here up there. We still have to move the batteries. We're not sure we're going to be able to do that really easily, if at all, and we're not going to even try that until we get another battery setup built up here. Now, our plan for today is simply to carry on working on these solar panels, and hopefully that won't be too much of a faff, really, because if you look at them, what do we need? Solar cells. So that's probably going to be our main holdback, because look at it, most everything else, it's honestly just steel that we need. We know we could get more steel. Before we do a lot of that, let's just go ahead and queue up some, well, it's one large steel tube each. So we're not going to need that many large steel tubes. Construction bonuses are only 7. It's really those solar cells that we need 64 each of. So that's going to be quite a few solar cells. So let's go ahead. Assembler 7, our good old buddy. Let's see how many solar cells we could ask you to cook up for us. And I apparently have gone blind. I see the power cell, solar cell. There we go. And what do you need? We need nickel for that. So let's queue one up. And that's, okay, so we got one cooking. Cool. And we need 67 for just one. So let's queue up 100 in each of these, and because of course they're not all touching, our cooperative mode won't just work magically. We have to go between all of them manually and queue them up, and we do have some supplies. After I've queued them all up, what we're going to do is very simply go ahead and look to see how much nickel we have, because it's silicon wafers and we need to build one. We'll actually just go ahead and get assembler 8, queue up 1. We need 8 silicon wafers and 10 nickel. So, yeah, 8 silicon wafers, 10 nickel. That's like, oh boy, quite a bit. And we've queued up a billion of these. And you can hear some machines freaking out. So, let's go ahead and just search up nickel ingot. Oh, okay. I thought there was an LE on the end of nickel. It's EL ingot. Okay. And we have 1,000 right there. 10 right there, 10 there. These are all the assemblers that have pulled them in. 600 and something right there. We got a fair amount, really. I'm not sure if 1,000 is enough. Let's see. Let's do a calculator, eh? I'm actually going to type in calculator. We got a calculator on screen. Imagine that. You thought you never saw a video where the calculator just appears on screen. So what was it? We said we had 1,270 nickel. We're going to divide that by 8, and we'll be able to only build 158 of them. Shoot! We are screwed! We need nickel! Holy hell! We need nickel. Alright, so let's go ahead and dock our ship right here, because we're going to run out of nickel pretty lickety-split here. Blimey. That's not good. It's funny, you can see that little block down there in front of us. That's our old stationary position where we used to have where this whole ship was originally going to be built. Imagine building all this that far away from the main base without even connecting it in. It would have been a nightmare. An absolute nightmare. Anyway, let's go ahead, dock this ship up. I hate this ship. I've grown to hate my own creation so much, because it is so big and sluggish, and its welding array is too big for its own good, and I screwed up big time on this ship. The flying sausage is, all in all, pretty much a failure. I kind of like its design. How did I not think that was going to happen? I mean, it was so obvious that that was going to happen. We were about to hit something there. Okay, let's rotate this a little bit here. I like the idea of the wing thing sticking out and the sort of industrial idea of it, how bulky it is, really. But I just don't like the welding things I've put onto it. I'm not happy with that. Maybe what I should have done is have a welding arm and a... Oh! There we go. A welding arm and a grinding arm. I can flip them over in front of the ship or something, or even piston them forward. But I don't think pistons can be big enough on small grids to actually carry all the components you would need it to. Alrighty, so got that ship docked. Let's go ahead and shut off our welders here. I don't think they take any power just being turned on and sitting still, but it's a possibility that they do, so let's just be better safe than sorry here. Type in welder. Welders of the base, shut off. Let's grab our mining ship. Remember, we need nickel now. In fact, because we should probably be a bit thorough, let's go ahead and check what else do we need. Because we said we needed nickel, we're also going to need production beta danke. Silicon, okay, so, and we're going to need tin. So let's just go ahead. Silicon wafer is the best for me. So what was that? We have 1,000, so that's we have 3,000, so that's 300 and something, right? Yeah, 384 we'll be able to make just with that. That's still not enough, really. So if we see silicon out there, we should gather that. But we definitely need nickel. Let's go to our GPS and see if we have nickel stored anywhere in here. It would appear we do not, so we're going to have to actually go exploring for nickel. This is extremely dangerous. Damn, I don't like that one bit. Yeah, cobalt, crash, home, uranium. I think we're fine for uranium for the time being, especially in our mining ship. So nickel and silicon is mainly what we're after. We could go grab more ice, but we're not going to do that. So let's just go ahead and fly ourselves up first and foremost. We'll go ahead and get ourselves some height. Man, I think I've said it before, but I really do hate the cockpit in this game, the default cockpit, just because well, you try to look down, it's a spaceship, you're going to be looking down, and all you see is control panel. One of these days I'm going to get around to modding in my own cockpit design I have in the back of my head. It's a cockpit that's heavily inspired by, well, just some industrial cockpits I'm sure you've seen in a lot of sci-fi art, as well as the cockpits, the sitting areas of the big cat diggers and such things like that, where you get a lot of focus on visibility. Alrighty, so this is a darker area. As you probably know, darker areas are supposed to mean resources here. Let's go ahead and type in ore detector just to make sure we have an ore detector here, and make sure it's on. It is indeed turned on, and get 2 inches off the ground, I guess. Oh, wait, there's some stuff. Magnesium, silicon. Okay, so we found some silicon. That was super quick. That's the secondary thing we need. We're running out of nickel a lot quicker, so new from current position. There we go. And silicon. Groovy. So that only took us like 12 seconds to find that, so we're good there. Now we just need to go ahead and find... What are you? Nickel! Oh my god! I feel like I'm cheating or something, because we found it in 2 seconds. Alright. Nickel. Cool. Conrad, I believe it was, had an awesome idea of, well, why don't you just use NI and basically the abbreviations for all of these. And I personally like that idea, and I also think it would be cool if we could get, what's it called? Color coding for these things as well, so we know the types of ores when you get near them by their color coding as well. New from current position. I know they're right next to each other, but I don't want to risk forgetting where they are. Alright, so we're going to grab our nickel. It's 29 meters below the surface, so let's fly ourselves like this, switch ourselves to the cockpit, or not the cockpit, the remote control, turn on our camera. That should be it right around there, right? Let's hold Alt to get the names to pop up. Yeah, there it is, cool. And now let's start mining towards that. We'll start with our right clicks, and blast our way through some of the ground here. In fact, since we're right-clicking, we don't have to do this silly spin thing. Let's just be careful, though. We don't want to actually maneuver too much once we're in the hole, of course, or we'll end up bumping the side of the ship, which would be very, very bad. And mine ourselves down into the earth. And that's nickel right there, I believe. So let's just start mining. And gobble, gobble, gobble ourselves up some nickel. Now, I do have tool shake turned off, but as you can see from the way the camera sort of sways a bit, the ship still ends up getting pulled a little bit, it would seem, from side to side. Yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Not quite like when in space. And in fact, I think what we're having to worry about a little bit here is actually just the idea that, well, for one, I wasn't spinning, so we're, risking... Yeah, you can see there it's sort of a T-shaped, or skull-shaped, really, indentation that we've stuck into the ground. But yeah, you really want to be cautious that you don't rotate your vehicle in a bad way, that maybe you don't have proper thrust, because down here on the planet you will, of course, find yourself just falling on your side if you don't have enough thrust to keep you aloft. And remember, our mass at the bottom right, the number we're looking for is 123,000 as our mass, at which point we should retreat. Also, I know that we've probably snagged a little bit of stone here, so this time we will be able to actually show off the drop out of cockpit stuff. Maybe. I don't know actually now that I think about it, because remember, this vehicle isn't really set up to transfer items like that. Anyway, we're close enough now. We're going to slowly... That was not comfortable. Basically, again, we lost power there. And it took us out of camera view, but we were still in remote control, which is so damn dangerous. Anyway, there we go. There's our hole, rather unceremoniously dug. And now we can just go ahead and go to right here, go to our go to our cockpit, and I don't think we're going to be able to, yeah, we can't drag anything into it. That's really unfortunate. If we were to hop out, in fact, oh god, I got alt tab for a second. If we were to even just be standing right here, select our connector, and yeah, just, no, my screen went red, that means I was burning. which doesn't make any sense. There's no thrusters aiming up right there. Ah, the ones on the side. That's probably what it was. The ship got tilted because I was standing there. Let's just try throwing out from there. It's a connector. Come on. If I drag from here to right here, you should just let me throw it out. Dag nabbit. Such a disappointment that, because of course if our cockpit was hooked up properly into the rest of the system, we could drag the stone into it and drop it out, but it's not hooked up like that. So our only option really right here is take it into our own inventory and just drop it, which is nowhere near as quick as it would be if it was just in the cockpit, because then we wouldn't have to be outside of the vehicle. This also means we've actually gotten rid of quite a bit of stone, so we could possibly go back down there and try to mine up some more nickel, because I suspect we need quite a bit of nickel to get all of the solar equipments that we needed built. It seems like more stone is coming in from nowhere. What's going on here? Is this what I think is happening, where the drills were full up? So basically it's emptying the drills, isn't it? Yeah, the drills are slowly pumping stuff out now. It's like, you bastard. Okay, cool. Now we've gotten rid of all the stone, we're good to go. We can hop back in the cockpit. Let's look at our mass. Yeah, that took us down about 20,000 almost. Really, it was about 12,000 or so in mass. We could grab more, but let's not even risk it, really. Let's go back to base and just build ourselves, well, drop that off so we can keep on working, and then come out and grab some more. I mean, look at our base now. How cool is that? Coming back to base, it looks so odd now. I love it. It reminds me of something out of Don't you dare crash. Star Trek, honestly. It looks like something that the Federation would have built on a planet to monitor it. You know, some weird monitoring station. If you ignore all the trash on the ground. Maybe it's a abandoned monitoring station. Something happened. The wildlife here tore it apart. Oh, I love it. I'm very happy with how this station is coming. I'm calling it a station now. Oh boy, the escape ship is becoming the station. That's not a good sign, because it means it's going to have trouble actually escaping. Anyway, let's lock that in place. There we go. And we're going to go to our refineries here, I think. And just try to make sure it's been spaced out evenly over all this stuff, because the last thing we want is it to be all jammed up in just one of them. So 10,000 right there. We're going to Control C that, so we can easily enough just click and drag this with our right mouse and continue just Control Ving to put in the 10,000 amount we want to transfer, and it'll get all of our refineries equally spaced out. Cool. That's actually pretty damn successful, I'd say. There's one more refinery, but now look, we can go ahead and transfer like 2,000 over here. Oh, what? No, that was 20,000. 2,000 there, and then another like 3,000 here. That way we get those spaced out just a little bit more. Awesome. I'd say that's pretty damn successful, wouldn't you? And let's go back to our production tab now. And you can see these are kicking it out, and hopefully the nickel will be kicking out fast enough now to keep up with demand. Now we might want to think about going back and getting some silicon wafers or maybe more nickel. I'm not exactly sure at the moment, but it could not hurt to go grab either of those. So let's disconnect. We'll check our inventory here. Looks like everything is emptied out. And let's head back out there and continue gathering supplies. Now, unfortunately, I did turn off my GPS location for that stuff. But look at that. We can turn it back on lickety-split and find our way there. And this time we're going to grab silicon. Yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done... Okay, we're alright. I came in there so quick and spinning it about like that. I was like, oh no. Have I just doomed us? Oh boy. Anyway, looks like we're alright. Why are we... Whoa! Okay, maybe not. What the heck is going on here? We're dropping like... If we aim straight down, do we drop in the ship? We do. Okay. I never fully realized that this ship is actually set up so badly that aiming straight down means we are basically just going to drop. That's spoopy. Anyway, we came here for silicon, and silicon we have found. So let's switch ourselves back over to the mining mode. This way we can aim down because we have two large thrusters. We'll hold Alt so we can see the names. Cool. And start our mining path here. Yep, this is where I do wish it would be color-coded, so you wouldn't even have to hold Alt. It would just show the icon there, and it would be color-coded, and then when you hold Alt, it would just say SI for silicone, or whatever it is. Let's start our right-click and blast away some of this terrain here. And again, we don't need the spin for this part, but I'm thinking this time I might move a little bit to try to make sure we have a rather large opening. Another thing to keep an eye on at this point is just going to be our little artificial gravity, or not artificial gravity, but our actual gravity thing at the top left there of our UI, just to make sure we're still facing pretty much straight down. It's a little bit finicky, that thing, but overall it should work to make sure we're facing the correct direction and don't end up flip-flopping too much. I don't like lagging out like that. It is spoopy. The game was saving. That's what happened there. Okay, cool. Whew, that scared the piss out of me. Absolutely terrifying when the game lags, when you're doing anything, really. Oh boy. Okay, and now, there we go. I think that might be silicon. Looks sort of dirt-like. And I guess, not snow, sand is silicon, right? So there we go. Some silicon together. Nom 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 nom. Nom nom nom. That's the sound of the ship gathering stuff, apparently. Okay, and this is a bit scary because you can see from the thing at the left there, we rotated a bit. So that's straight down. This is us sort of upside down a little tiny bit. Can we hover up and maybe this way a little bit? There we go. This is a much, we'll go straight down from here, and we will spin a little bit. That should be much better. And we don't want to be spinning too fast or else the drills, when they hit, will hit a bit hard. Cool. I think we'll be alright now. And we're not exactly facing straight down, but we'll try our best to remain facing straight down, keeping our eye on that UI. Alrighty, so we mined up quite a bit. Like I said, keeping our eye on the UI, that's exactly what I did, neglecting the fact that our weight went all the way up to 130,000. So we're slightly over our 123 mark there. As you can see, we're accelerated. We're very slowly making progress to get out of this cave we dug. And this one was a fair bit farther down than I think the nickel was. So we ended up going down there a bit farther than expected. I'm going to move the ship over here. And we're just going to keep it facing down. I'm going to look up for a second. Okay, well, good. I just wanted to check to make sure our altitude wasn't dropping. Unfortunate thing about using a remote control block on one of these ships is the fact that it doesn't give you an altitude bar like that. You know, you can't tell your altitude. Before we head back to base, let's just go ahead and once again grab all the stone we can and eject it from the ship. The only way we really can right now. Bit unfortunate, but it gets the job done. And it's not taking too long, which is a massive bonus. Cool. And I think we're not going to go down there and mine anymore right now. We're just going to head back to base with the silicon we needed. Cool. Oh, minor overload there, but yeah, look, we're at 127. We should be relatively all right. And this time, let's try to decelerate and see if we can just line up with the base first. Nope, we're not going to make it. Okay, we're going to have to overshoot it again. We keep coming in too hot and having to overshoot like this. It's scary as all hell coming in like that. Always afraid we're just going to end up smashing into the side of it and losing our mining ship. And if we lost the mining ship, I think at this point we basically have to cut apart our sausage. Cut apart the flying sausage to go ahead and make another ship, which I'm ever more tempted to do. This time, I think if I was to rebuild a sausage, I'd do the majority of the planning and everything off screen and then just use a welder or something to weld it up in a time lapse or something. Alright, so refineries, again, let's go ahead and search up refinery on all these. Cool. And this time, let's go ahead and just shift. Okay, we'll have a bunch at the top. And we'll just shift these a little bit around. I think, once again, we're going to just do the 10,000 thing. So we split that stack. Let's split this stack. There we go, right there. And then let's go up, and we got the big stack up here from the left. We can just be splitting this one as well. So we'll have roughly 10,000, once again, in everything. Kind of makes sense, I guess, that the mass... Well, as long as the mass of silicon and nickel is roughly the same, it makes sense that our ship would have brought back roughly the same amount. Maybe a little tiny bit more, yeah, silicon. And let's split this stack a little bit into there. Let's do 2,000 right there. Cool. And let's actually set these guys to be refining the silicon because they have minimal amounts of nickel. In fact, yeah, these guys still have the majority of their nickel there. Nickel takes a lot longer to process, I've noticed. Okie dokie. Well, guys and gals, that was a very successful mining trip with minimal FUPAs in it. I mean, very minimal FUPAs. We didn't have any massive explosions. We successfully mined out the area there without, you know, just everything going to pot. Let's end this episode by doing doing some good old-fashioned boring as piss grinding, eh? Like the old days. Remember when I was sitting in the dark for hours on end, just babbling about this, that, and the other thing, grinding things down? And yeah, let's just end it right here. Anyway, guys and gals, thank you a bunch for watching. I think I shall record a singular more episode this day, and then by the time I record anymore, I will have hopefully gotten your feedback on that thing I talked about in the other episode. Not going to bring it up again because the feedback should have been in that episode. Anyway, thank you a bunch for watching, and I shall see you guys and gals next time. Ta-ta.